If you have been searching for peace and prosperity and power, and you have become a born-again Christian and you keep hitting bad luck or negative energy, we need to understand the true story about Jesus, and we will go all the way to the Ring of Solomon. The Bible will tell you a story of Solomon, and even if you read the Testament of Solomon, you will see a story about King Solomon having 3 rings of power. But the Quran has another story of Solomon. This very different version of Solomon in the Quran shows him as a wielder of magic, subjugator of the jinn, sitter on a throne of robot animals, and rider of a flying eagle, who carried him to visit fallen angels chained to a stone, Prometheus style. The stone is the moon. The god of the moon is named Sin. You were born in sin. We were chained to a stone. But not all is lost. We became born again through what we are on now, which is the earth. It is a mirror, and it is a way to either mirror the darkness or the light, depending on whether you are looking up or this way. When you only have 2 rings of power, you are in the dog. You are in the inversion of God. And there was a demon who was dog-like. He held a scepter and that was sealed with an emerald stone. And then there were 3-headed dragon spirits, and there were places called the place of the skull, and a female demon with 2 heads. And so when we get into these depictions of the dog, we will go back to understanding why God called a woman a dog, is that when we only have 2 rings of power, we have a problem, which is a Jinn who is controlling us and feeding off of our life force. The Bible starts with Jinn, but the Jinn was originally spelled D-J-I-N-N, and then it changed to Jinn, which is a genie in a bottle. But Genesis is the Jinn is in your genes. And so if you have a Jinn in your genes, there is a way to get the Jinn out who is sucking your life force and causing you misery and bad luck. So the Jinn is the Gentile, half Jinn, half reptile, for 7 generations. This is why you live on 7 continents, 7 seas, 7 days in a week, 7 colors to the rainbow. You have 7 chakras, and your 7 chakras are to be healed by the 7 wounds of Christ and the 7 spirits of God that are in the Bible. And the 7 stones and the 7 musical notes and the 7 metals keep you tethered to 7 and duality. So you are the one in duality, stuck to 12 hours, 12 months, 12 zodiac signs. You are in a labyrinth. You are in a box. And this labyrinth, they sacrifice 7 children, 7 boys and 7 girls. This is the body of Osiris that was stuck in a box. It is called the Hunger Games. You're in District 12. Nothing is in your favor. You will have bad luck. But Jesus always represented a mathematical communication that represented you gaining your 3 rings of power. He said, if you follow me, you can be as powerful as me and more. I show you the way. And he said, I laid the foundation for you. He said, turn over a stone and there I am, cut a piece of wood and there I am. So he represents Pisces, which is the 12th house. Yes, it is a place of pain and suffering. But the story isn't as bad as you think. The problem that happened was the bitten apple. The bitten apple is a miscarriage, a spiritual miscarriage. If you had 3 rings of power like Solomon, you would have been born with knowledge. You would have been born powerful. You would have been born in a place where everything was in your favor. You can call it the land of 13. But you weren't. You were cut. So this is an embryo that was cut. If you were really miscarried and your soul went to an upside down world like an illusion, that would be District 12. So how do you get your third ring of power? It's an awakening. And this awakening will take you to a communication that Jesus always communicated. The 3 wise men, 3. The 3 gifts, 3. Jesus, Mary, Joseph, 3. The 3 crosses, HH, 3. Heaven, hell. Jesus died at 33. He died at 12 o'clock, which is 3. And then the sun rose at 3 o'clock. And so Jesus represented leaving the Bible. He left the Bible at 12. And when he came back, he found 12 disciples. Jesus plus his 12 disciples is 13, which makes you a master that walks on water, which is your biofield. Now, you know that the sun is L. It flips every 11 years, and it is electrons that live forever. And when the electrons descend upon you, it creates 3 rings of power: wisdom, power, and understanding, that looks like a rabbit. This is called the white rabbit, or the white hair of Noah, or Hare Krishna. So once you go through the 7 wounds of Christ, you have to go through a deathless death. And this is surrendering all that you are. And it's called the baptism of water and the baptism of fire. So when you are in the flood, you are asleep. But when you go through an awakening through how the sun flips every 11 years, you will go to 11:22. 33 is the fire, where you go through a deathless death. This deathless death is an awakening, and it beckons you to look at your avatar and go, who am I really? And this avatar isn't me. And you allow the Holy Spirit, your real true self, to descend upon you, creating water and fire. This takes you to the Wizard of Oz, where the bottom part of your biofield is W, the Wicked Witch of the West, or the water, and Emerald City is anti-M, which looks like the number 3, which is the 13th letter in the alphabet, which spelled backwards is L. It's L. Electricity, electrons, 11, and the 11th house of Aquarius. So when the baptism of water meets the baptism of fire, this makes the number 8. Now you're out of the number 7. This means that you have killed the Jinn within you through an awakening. So when the broomstick was on fire and the scarecrow put it out with water, it was the steam that killed the Wicked Witch of the West, which is the World Wide Web, which is the Matrix. If you're the one, Neo, who needs your Trinity, you have to follow the white rabbit, right? Solomon quoted magic words, and one of these magic words was, I strangle those who reside in Aquarius because of their passion for women, whose zodiacal sign is Virgo. So Solomon is a story of the elm tree. So Odin hung from an elm tree. L is 11. M is 13. The elm tree is, there is no District 12 here, where nothing is in your favor. Shamans and masters would make a swing in a tree and hang from it in order to get out of District 12. And Odin hung for 9 days. And so shamans will hang from a tree in order to connect their consciousness to a higher self. But you shouldn't do this until it's your time, because your kundalini, cosmic electricity, happens in divine timing. When you begin to learn about the divine order of God and you surrender, then the Holy Spirit will descend upon you through obedience. So cleanliness is next to godliness. Clean your house, clean your car, clean your thoughts, clean your beliefs. Listen to comedy. Joy is your strength. Your inner child is your strength, right? Clean your diet. And know that your holy temple is the body of God. You are the will of God. You are not you. And this is what the deathless death is. You surrender your own will to the will of God, but not the jerk God. The God who wants you to be powerful. The one who wants you to step into 3 rings of power. The one who wants you to step into the true God, which is Aleph. Now the Jews call them Aleph. It's not. It's LF, extreme low frequency, electricity, elements. And it is L and Eve, not Adam and Eve. Because when you get your 2 twins back, it's the 14 letters, 7 and 7, 11, which is God, 7 and 4, 11. Solomon may not have existed, but he does exist as an allegory. Soul, sun, Om, sun, on, sun. 3 suns. Trinity.